Hello, lovely humans. Today we're going to talk about a special type of two-step equations. But before we do that, we're going to review a type of two-step equations that we've already talked about, and that is the type that has division. Okay, so we will start with our balance line, just like we always do, to remind ourselves that we have to do the same thing on both sides of the line. Okay, and then we're going to start with, and it's written up here, we're going to start with adding or subtracting the constant, so doing the inverse to get rid of it. So our constant is this right here, our plus 5. So we're going to subtract it, since that's the opposite. And then I remember I have to do the same thing on both sides of my balance line. And then I'll rewrite my equation. So we'll get x over 3 equals, and 6 minus 5 is 1. Then 2, I'll multiply by the denominator because multiplication is the inverse of division. And do the same thing on the right side. I'll cross these out. And I'll have x equals 3. Okay? So hopefully that was a review. We've done problems like that lots of times before. But now we're going to look at something that's a little bit different. Okay, so if we look at this equation right here, what you might notice is that this 3, there's a longer line above it. And the 3 is under both the x and the 2. If you look up here, it was just under the x and the plus 5 was by itself. But notice that the plus 2 is now also over the 3. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to, you can see that I wrote this here, we have to unlock the numerator, so the top, by multiplying first. Okay, so that is the trick with these types, with these types of equations, is we actually have to multiply first, which is the opposite of what we've been doing. Everything we've done so far is said you have to add or subtract first. But in this case, the 2 is stuck on the top because of this 3. So really what's happening here is we have x over 3 plus 2 over 3 equals 7. That's what this is equivalent to. So this 2 is not actually a 2 right now. It is 2/3. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't really want to be adding and subtracting 2/3 from 7. That sounds obnoxious, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to unlock the numerator. So right now, it's everything on the top is locked in, and we're going to unlock it by getting rid of the denominator first. So I'm going to start by multiplying. Do it to the other side. So that cancels out that 3. Now, please note, you can only do this when everything is a fraction. Up here, we could not multiply by 3 first. If we did that, we would get the wrong answer. Okay? So the only time we can start with multiplication is when everything is a fraction. All right, so we'll start by multiplying by 3, and that will give us x plus 2 equals, and then 7 times 3 is 21. Well, now I just have a one-step equation, and I know how to solve that. I have plus 2, so the inverse of plus 2 is minus 2. Minus 2. Those cancel, and I will be left with x equals 19. And that's my answer. All right, let's try this second one. So again, I notice that everything is in a fraction. There's nothing left over. So since everything is in a fraction, I know that I multiply first to unlock the top. So those cancel. I'm left with x minus 6 on the top, and 2 times 5 gives me 10. Now I have just a one-step equation, so to undo minus 6, I'll do plus 6 and plus 6 over here. And 10 plus 6 gives me x equals 16. Okay, so notice the difference. For the first one, only the x is in a fraction, and so we subtract our constant first. But with our second two, the entire thing is a fraction, so we have to multiply to unlock the top. Okay, you're now going to have a couple of practice problems that you're going to work on your own.